Ashrei, you got a siddur there? Anybody got a siddur? We say every day in Ashrei, we say a posik, Yoiducha Hashem kol ma'asecha, that all of your deeds, Hashem, praise you or thank you. Yoiducha Hashem kol ma'asecha, v'chasidecha yivorchucha, and your pious ones bless you. In other words, the whole world thanks you and gives praise to you, but your special pious ones, Chasidecha, your Chasidim, literally, they bless you. Yivorchucha. So who are these Chasidim? Who are the so-called Chasidim? The Chasidim are the Kohen, because it's brought down in Sefer Dvorim, right near the end of the Torah, when the Eibishter blesses all the tribes through Moshe Rabbeinu. The Moshe Rabbeinu calls the Kohanim, he calls them Ish Chasidecha. The pious person is the Kohen. Your pious people are the Kohanim. Ish Chasidecha. So Chasidecha here means the Kohanim. And what do? They bless, literally, Kaviyochel Hashem. They bless Hashem. But how do they do that? So it's written, Yivorchucha. Now, that's a slightly unusual grammatical usage of the verb. And we see it's like as if it were written, Yivorchu, they will bless, Cho, Kof Hei. Now, Kof Hei, if you pay attention, Kof Hei is exactly how we start off with the command of the priestly blessing. That he says to, Moshe says to Aaron of Bonov, Koi, Shuvorchu es B'nai Yisrael, this is the way you should bless the Jewish people. So the word Koi is an expression in Hebrew meaning this way. The truth of the matter is that Koi means like approximately. It doesn't mean exactly that way. It means like this. So some of the great Meforshim suggest, why would we say Koi? This is the way you should bless it. Because since it's a human that's blessing in the tzivui of Hashem, then a human can only approximate to what the divine would want. He can't really fulfill the divine. And therefore it's written Koi. This is the way you should bench, because as we said, this is a process where the divine blessing is going through certain humans who are the Hasidim of the area. Chasidecha, your Hasidim. And so it comes along the great Mukubarim, and they tell us that this word Koi means the Sphira of Malchus. It means the last of all the 10 Sphiras is called Koi. So what does it mean? That your Hasidim should bless, literally, the Sphira of Malchus. Now why would they want to do that? Because the Sphira of Malchus is the way everything reaches into the three created worlds of Bria, Yetzirah, Vasiya. Malchus is part of Atzilus, Olam Atzilus. Olam Atzilus is still completely divine. It's biyuchad with Hashem entirely. The ultimate purpose, however, of Hashem is to reach the three created worlds, Bria, Yetzirah, Vasiya, and particularly the third world, Asiya, has a further world called Asiya Hagashmiyah. It's got the physical world. At the bottom, Kaviyochel, that's the ultimate purpose of Hashem. He wants to reach that everything should come down into the physical world, and that's where they should make a dir Eloi Yisborah. They should make a dwelling place for Hashem. And Mamela, that's the union of Koi. Koi is the union for Malchus, how it's already coming down into Biyah. That's the union for Malchus. And therefore it's called approximate. It's not really, because it's gone down into Bria Yesh Ayin, from down into the elements of creation. It's already only Koi, as it were, Gabi Hashem. It's not real Elikus, but it is Elikus. It's Elikus, how it's come down and shine to the Nira. And so the whole purpose of the Kohanim is Yivarchu Cho. They have to bring down a tremendous blessing into the sphere of Malchus. And therefore, the Alter Rebbe in his Siddur, in the famous Siddur Tfilis Mikol Hashana, which got my monim there on all the different portions of the Tfilah. In a certain place over there, the Alter Rebbe says that Birchas Kohanim is that this Koi, meaning Malchus, is how Malchus comes down into the three created world, the Bria, Yetzirah, Vasiyah. It's got a very difficult task. It's got to go and bring Elikus from Bria into Yetzirah and then from Yetzirah into Asiyah. Right at the bottom of Asiyah, there can even be certain achizas to clippers and to things. If everything is not 1,000% the way it should be, there can even be Ayin from clippers, B'sitrachra. And Malchus nonetheless has to put up with all that. And Malchus even has to give life force to these clippers, even against its own will, if something is not being dealt with properly in the right way. And therefore Malchus goes down into a darkness. Her Yerida is in the form of a darkness. In order that Malchus should still remain, the Malchus, how do you call it, the kingship of Hashem, even way down in the Indian of the clippers, the Eibusha gives her a very special blessing, and that's the blessing of the Kohanim. And that every day the Kohanim are mamshik, a tremendous blessing, into Malchus from Keser, from a very high madrega, and that's what we call the Yud Gimel Midaso, or Rachamim, the 13 attributes of mercy, which are very, very high madrega in what we call Arichanpin, that's in the Indian from Keser, or the Kohanim are mamshik that down into the Sfiras HaMalchus, in order that Sfiras HaMalchus should be to come down into the world and bring the Eibus's message and bring the Yinif and Elikus and the life force into all the worlds and not have to suffer and not be, as it were, too covered and too troubled, as it were, by the Indian of the clippers and the Sitracha. Derech Agav, from that tremendous blessing, then the how do you call it? The Yidden also get a tremendous benefit. If that comes into Malchus, and the Kohanim have got that Koyah, the Kohanim, being as they are, like the Rebbe Nezra said, are holy people, and they've separated themselves from all sorts of inyanim, similar to the Nozir in that particular part, and therefore the Kohanim, they're able to bring that down into the sphere of Malchus, and the sphere of Malchus is also the Moki of all the Neshamas of Yidden. That's where all the Neshamas of Yidden come through in order to come down into the world. If Amela, through blessing Malchus, they also bless the Jewish people, and we come to a point where we have this tremendous blessing that can protect us and make our lives meaningful, despite the threat of the clippers and the sitracha and things which are not per se according to Kedusha. We can find our way through, and we can work our way through, and that's the Sinus Koyach of the Abirchas Kohanim. And therefore we say in the morning, when we want to bring a piece of Torah to make sure we've said Birchas Torah, we want to learn a piece of Torah right at the beginning. Birchas Torah. In the morning we say, what do we say? The priestly blessing, Yivarecha Hashem v'yishmerecha, because that's a very, very powerful inyan. Even though the Kohanim are not saying that, we're saying it, but that's indicatory and symbolical of that power that we need. We need that tremendously high sourced blessing to come into Malchus to help us through the world and help us through the day. Otherwise, we're going to have tremendous difficulty in making our way in this world. And then later, by davening, the Kohanim themselves, as a zeichet to how it was in the Beis HaMikdash, the Kohanim themselves go up and they bless. And therefore, the Rebbe used to stress very much the greatness of the Iyun from Birchas Kohanim. And the Alter Rebbe, he said, that's one on the Alter Rebbe said, that if he would have had power and he would have had koyach, he would have made sure that they say Birchas Kohanim every day in Chutz La'aretz. Over here in Eretz Yisrael, it's a minhag. It's a minhag Eretz Yisrael to say the priestly blessing every day. And that's the way it should be. But in Chutz La'aretz, they don't do it. In all the countries in Chutz, they only on the Yontif they bless, the priestly blessing. And the Alter Rebbe didn't like that. The Alter Rebbe said that if he would have had power, one of the things he would have done is, he would have been matakin, that they would say to Birchas Kohanim kol yom, afilu b'chutz la'aretz, because you need, without the Birchas Kohanim is a tremendous giving of power to make your way through your way through the world, as it were. And therefore, it's a very interesting thing that Davke, some of the great poskim say that Davke Birs Kahanim is very difficult to get in the queue. Even in halacha, the Yetzirah mixes in somehow, and he made it in Chutzrot, and people were confused. Even the great poskim, whether they should make Birs Kahanim or they shouldn't. And even here in Eretz Yisrael, there were arguments amongst different authorities as to whether it should be. It was such a tremendously high and elevated matter that the Clippers, even in matters of halacha, even in rabbinic affairs, they try to get in and prevent the coming of the Biras coming. However, when I first came to Eretz Yisrael, the Bochrim in the yeshiva in Lud, the Kohanim used to say Biras Kanim every day. I saw him when they came over here to Kwachabad. There were certain people in Kwachabad that came in and said they were, how can you allow us to have it? Huh? They made a whole thing, and there was a whole argument, and they stopped the blocking and making the blessing every day, to my great amazement. But anyway, that's just, by the way, it's a long history. But in the old days in Lud, when I first came to Eretz Yisrael, and the yeshiva wasn't here, but it was over in Lud, then the Kohanim, the Bochrim that were Kohanim, used to bless every day. Anyway, that's just by the way. So, from that we see that there's a tremendous power in Biras Kahanim to be mamshik from higher than the whole Indian of the Seder of the world, from what we call Keser, maybe even higher, Pnimis Keser, and that comes down, Yivor Chucho, they bless into the Indian of Malchus, and that Indian of Malchus shines into the world and frees and gives Malchus the power to withstand all the, as it were, the threats of the Clippers and all the inyonim of this world. And the same way that comes into the lives of Yidden and gives each individual Yid the ability to stand firm despite the threat of the Clippers and Sitra. That's Ad Kan what's Mavur. However, certain people say that it's a very special role that the Kohanim play. And that's why we see that the Rambam Paskins, that they're not allowed to drink wine when they make the, because that's just like, every detail, it's just like they avoided in the Beis HaMikdash. And what is that? It's this word, we notice that the Ber El Aaron V'Albonav, Moshe says, the Abisha told Moshe, he asked to Aaron and his sons, Leimoyer, Koisa Baruchos B'nai Yisrael, Omoyer Lahem. Say it to them like this. Now, certain people ask, why did I need that word Omoyer in the middle? Yeah. So Rashi comes out here and he says, like Zocher Shomer by Shabbos, which also needs an explanation. That's not really the part of this year. But what does it mean you should say to them? If you told them you should bless the Jewish people, that means you're going to say something to them. What's the meaning of Omoyer Lahem? So the word Omoyer is like the root of the word. It's like the verbial root of the word lemor. Lemor is to say. Omoyer Lahem is like the classical infinitive. It's like the etzem infinitive. So I saw, this moves us now into the field of Chassidus more, and I saw one of in the Sefer, one of the Talmudim of Baal Shem Tov, the Tzemach Hashem Latzvi called a Sefer, and he says that the word Omoyer, the point of it being here is that Kaviyol, if the Yidden and the Kohanim will carry out what they're told to do, then Omoyer Lahem, they will just be giving over like something which is a makor. It's like the root of the word. What is the root of the word? The Eivishter. In other words, when the priests bless you, they're really saying they are just a vessel to give over what Hashem is really saying. It's not them that's saying it, it's Hashem that's saying it. In other words, that answers our original question, why didn't Hashem bless? He did. But nonetheless, he chose the Jewish, the priestly people, the Kohanim, to do it for him, like the Sefer Chinuch said. But he points out that that's so profound that the Kohen is so given over to Hashem at that moment. He's so much part of the kedusha of the Kahuna and the kedusha towards Hashem, yeah, and he's so, as it were, holy that he just becomes like a mouthpiece for Hashem. Omoyer lehim, it just goes out. Omoyer is the root of the word. That's like coming from the root of everything. It just goes over and flows. And so what happens with the divine blessing is that it's a divine statement. It's Kaviol, the Eibishter, talking to us through the Kohanim. Over the Eibishter is blessing it. The Kohanim are just like a trumpet or a shofar. They're just giving it over. They're not really mixing into it. That's what he said. And therefore the Bilas Kohanim, a very holy and special thing, and therefore it's got a din like the Avedas HaKorbanos. It's just like the meaning of an Aveda and all those inyanim. Was Lafise, the inyan from Bilas Kohanim is mamish gila elikus into the world, and it's a gila elikus which gives us the power, as we said before, to face all the difficulties, and therefore it's the Sitra Achar didn't want the Chutzros or even here and so that's why there's always been a big difficulty to get Birchas Kohanim in, because the other side doesn't want to let it in. It's such a holy and unbelievable Messinas Koyach. And therefore some people, if they meet a Kohen, they'll say, listen, give me a Birchas Kohanim. People are very anxious to get a Kohen to bless them, even just one, to bless them. And for example, Rav Kohen, he's a Kohen. When he had his Yechidus with Ben Zion Kohen, you know Rav Kohen. When he had his Yechidus with the Rebbe said to him, asked him, he said, "Do you bless Yidden?" So I didn't know what to say. So the Rebbe said, "You have to make sure you're a Kohen, and your in is to bless Yidden Birchas Kohanim. You have to bring down the blessing of the Kohanim onto the people." So he didn't quite know what to make of that. So he didn't want to say the quack about they don't let me do it every day. He didn't know what to say. So what he used to do when he was younger, he would stop people and say, "You want to build his Kohanim?" And he would give it, because the Rebbe told him, as I've had numerous times. I've had it when I was younger. He used to come up into my office and he would give me a bill as Kohanim. He used to say, "Bill as Kohanim," because that's the power of the Kohanim. They have the power to bring down Gila Elikus. They're just like a medium. They're just, the whole divine blessing is just going through them into the world, Mama. And therefore, the whole Indian from Bilas Kohanim is elevation of the world, whereby we see the effect of Elikus directly in our lives. And therefore, some people say that what the Kohanim blesses in the Beit Knesset, I don't want to make the whole day. That gives the whole day the ability of Yidden to be Yidden in the world and to make the world a Kli for Gila Elikus, and eventually to bring Moshiach. And therefore the Kohanim and the Beis HaMikdash, they used to say the Shem, according to some opinions, they used to say, I think there's the Shin Ayin Beis, 72 letters, Hashem. They used to say it all in one table. There's a Rashi in Masechta Kedushin. Rashi in Masechta Kedushin, Rashi brings down the names. It's a very amazing Rashi. He brings it all down, all the letters, one after the other, that they used to say. Because it's a tremendously high madrege to even Birchas Kohanim. That's why it is that people, even others, they can't say the whole Shem like that. At least they give over the Shem Havaya. Is people want to cup a Birchas Kohanim as a way. And therefore, is just very briefly, I'm just going to mention. Therefore, the Rebbe in a Sikha, the Rebbe brings down that you notice that Rashi says on the first blessing, Yivorecha she's bochu nechotzecha, that your ownership and your properties should be blessed. In other words, that you should have a monetary blessing. You should have plenty of panosim. You should have what you need in the world. V'yishmarecha, he should guard you, shelo yovel, shaded him, that once you have the money, that there shouldn't come thieves to steal the money. So, that's just a little bit unusual. and the Eibush gives you a blessing, and they say, oh, but wait a minute, there might come thieves to get it, and if I'm blessing it, they won't, and therefore you'll have a Noah from the boat. So the Rebbe says an amazing thing. He said, what the purpose of Rashi in saying that is to show that the Eibishter's blessing in Birkas Kohanim is a positive and a negative altogether. So what he means is that not there's two separate inyanim. The first of all, the Eibishter gives you, and then he looks after you separately at a later point to see that you're right. But in the very giving, there's already an asinus koyach that will never be affected by anything negative. That in the giving and the guarding, it's all one. It's all one thing. And therefore, Yivarecha Hashem v'Yishmarecha is all one thing. And therefore, some people point out that therefore the Shem Havai is between the Yivarecha and the Yishmarecha. The Shem Havai is in the middle. In other words, it's all two activities which are joined together by the Shem Havai, by the holy name of Hashem. Yivarecha Hashem v'Yishmarecha. It's all one thing. That the way Hashem will give you is that nothing can ever impinge. Nothing can ever stop it. Not that he gives you and then later he makes sure there's a guard on your gate or something. Or you've got a good insurance policy that you won't be stolen. But he gives l'chatchila in such a way that nothing could ever happen to it. It's a permanent and absolute giving in the very giving itself. And that's what Rashi is saying, that in human terms and in the human sphere, if somebody gives you, then you can never really be sure. The way the Eibishter gives you, he gives you l'chatchila in such a way that it could never be room for any possibility of it leaving you. He gives you that way. And we see from that then that the Inif and Birkas Kohanim is a very tremendous, holy matter, which leads to the balance of Elokus in the world in the way that it functions with fullness from all sides, and mashana and perfect the whole situation of the physical world. But therefore, we notice that when the Kohanim bless you, they have to lift up their hands. And in the Beis Hamikdash, they used to lift up their hands above their head. They used to lift up their hands high like that. Nowadays, they only lift up their hands like that. They have to lift them above their shoulders. In the time of the Beis Hamikdash, they used to hold their hands very high like that. That's how they used to be. So what's the whole idea of lifting up their hands? So the Rebbe explains in a place that's like when we make Natilas Yadayim, we wash our hands, then we lift up our hands like that. You lift them up to your heart, or in the morning when you make Natilas, you lift up like that above your ears and everything. So he said, what do you need to do that for? Do you need to lift up your hands? Because your hands indicate the midas. The hands are like the of the emotional trays. And the emotional trays, they can go not always in the right direction unless you're careful. The whole idea of water is chokhmah. We pour water around our midas to make sure that the brain should affect our midas. That's the whole idea of the pinimis of Natilas Yadayim. However, we elevate it back once the water's come on the midas, we elevate it back to the Inyan HaMoichin to double the effect, to ensure that the Moichin will affect, and we lift it up in the direction of the Moichin, to be sure, or we elevate it at least in heart, showing that the water now on the hands is against the heart, that the brain will be affected, the chokhmah will be affected in the middle. That follows Lefi said that lifting of the hands is like guarding that the brain power will always look after the middle. And therefore, since we're bringing down such a holy, divine influence into the world, the Kohanim lift up their hands like that in order to prevent that there should be any chas v'sholom, that the klippers might want to come along and chap. The klippers will say, oh, this is great, there's such a lakush coming, we'll also have part of it. Therefore, the Nasias Kapayim is like a guarding that the Moichin, the power of Chokhmah, will prevent it to be any going out to not good, just like by Natilas Yadayim. And therefore they have, but in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, They had to elevate them because they brought a hashpah, not just from Chokmah, from Moichin, but from Keser, Mamish, right down straight through the holy name into the world, and therefore they have to, and very soon, that's how the Kohanim are going to bench and sworn on that the Rebbe wished many of the Kohanim that they should be zeichet to bless the Jewish people with the full name of Hashem and everything in the Beis HaMikdash. Many of the Kohanim got that blessing from the Rebbe. And we should be zeichet very soon to see all the Kohanim blessing us in the special way that was possible in the Beis HaMikdash. And Derech Hagav, the Kohanim used to sing a nigun. They used to say it with an intonation, a nigun. And well, that's what they say on Yod. You probably heard them say the ay 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 ay. You heard that nigun when they bless the long birchas Kohanim on Yom Tov. Was certain Lubavitcher authorities in previous generations, they claimed that nigun ay 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 ay, that's how they used to burn. That was the nigun in the Beis HaMikdash. That's what they claim. And that the certain great authorities over the generations had the nigun b'Kabbalah. And it came down through the back. That's what they claim. In other words, that it's a very amazing and rare inyan, and that we should be zeicher very soon. And so that's the whole inyan of Nasias Kapayim and this whole inyan of Nozia and all those inyanim. With Moshiach, that the whole purpose is to elevate people into a state of holiness and kedusha. If you're a holy person, then you can bless other people. And that's what we see, that the Rebbe's blessing had a most amazing effect on people, because he was a holy man. He was the most holy person we can imagine, and therefore his blessings, they just brought divinity into the world. And that's the union of the Kohanim. And a really great person, he's like a Kohen. He's got the same power, mitzvah kedusha. That's what the Ebenezer said. That's the Nozia. That's the special thing about the Nozia, that he's got the ability also to affect the world because he is holy. He's very, very holy. And Derech Hagav, just by the way, they say that there's a suspicion that the Rogatchover Gaon, you heard of the Rogatchover Gaon, the Rebbe's got a special footnote. But the Rebbe says that he feels that it's very possible that the Rogatchover Gaon was a Nozia. Even though nowadays we don't take on the Zurich, nobody else, won't go into that now, but they say that's why he never cut his hair. You know the Rogatchover Gaon had long hair. They say he never cut his hair because he was a Nozia. Anyway, whatever. That's a long discussion, and one could go into that. But he was a tremendously holy person. And he just knew Torah in a way that probably very few individuals have ever learned Torah quite the way that he did. And therefore, take him miyad, we should be back to the Kohanim in the Beis HaMikdash, lifting up their hands way to the heights, blessing us with the Shem HaMeferish, the Shin Ayin Beis, or whatever the Shem it was that they were Mevorech, and we should see it all together with the Rebbe. Take him miyad, mamish. And in the meantime, you should bless people. You should always try to bless other Yidden and bless. That's a very big thing. And if you can have a blessing from a Kohen, that's always a good thing. And we should see the blessing of all the Kohanim in the Beis HaMikdash. Take them here now.